Okay, so welcome everyone to our new Tech Tuesday video. My name is Ruvhuan, and today I will be showing you guys how to add Google Maps to your Angular application. We will be doing this specifically for Angular, but I will try and show how you would be able to do it with other frameworks as well. Refer you to the documentation and so on. Um, but yeah, let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is we need a Google Cloud Platform account because we need a Google Maps JavaScript API key. So for that, you have to go to cloud.google.com. The link will also be in the video description along with any other links that we'll use throughout the video. But yeah, when you get to this page, here in the top right, if you're not signed into a Google account, there will be a Get Started button. You can just follow that. It's fairly simple. If you have a Google account, you'll sign into that, and then there's like 2 steps that you have to complete. You do have to provide like credit card details, but it's only to verify that you are an actual person or business entity and not just some computer program creating accounts automatically. You won't be charged unless you explicitly give Google permission to do so by creating a billing account. So don't need to worry about that. But yeah, if you have an account, already have a Google Cloud Platform account, you can just sign in, and then here in the top right, there's a console button. You can just click on that, and then it will take you to the Google Cloud Console. Now, if you follow the sign up process, you might land in the dashboard view. So something that looks like this. That's fine. We will anyway just use the search box here at the top to just search for Google Maps. And we want to go to Google Maps platform. It just takes like a minute to load. Let's give it a minute. So, there you go. So if you go to this page for the first time and you don't have any API keys active, Google will have a little modal pop up here that asks you if you want to create like a new demo, and it automatically generates an API key for you. You can then, if that does happen, you can just copy the API key, and that's basically all we are here for at the moment. But if not, you can go down here to APIs on the side, and you'll see additional APIs and enabled APIs. So you want to make sure that your Maps JavaScript API is enabled. If it's not, it will be on additional APIs, in which case you'll just click on it like this, and then instead of it displaying like this, having a disable option, there will be an enable button there for you. So just click on that, give it a few seconds, and it will throw you back into this view. And you can just verify that it is enabled. But yeah, the main reason we're here is for the credentials. We want an API key. Now, again, if you did do the demo quick setup that they have, then you'll already see an API key here, like this one here. So then that's fine. Then you can just copy that. You can just use that. But if you need to create a new one, you can just click here, create credentials here at the top, API key, and then there you go. You can just copy that, close. You can see this top one is the new one. And then you can just edit. Yeah, I just want to show you guys this. If you edit the API key, you have the option to set application restrictions. So that's to prevent anyone from just using your API key, because that will push up your usage and eventually cost you money. So I'm not going to set it up for the purpose of this video, because by the time you watch this, I'll probably have disabled all of my API keys. But if you want to for an Android app, you can just go there. It specifically shows you how you can do it for an Android app. But for like a website, you can specify your domain. So then it will only allow requests from your specific domain. But yeah, for the testing purposes, that's fine now. But obviously if you wanted to use it on production or any public website, you will want to restrict it to your domain. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what we're here for right now. Then let's get started on Google Maps. So as I mentioned, we will specifically be using Angular, and for that we'll use the official Angular Google Maps component, which I'll show in just a moment. But just to give you guys an overview, this link is also in the description, but this is the official Google Maps documentation. We might refer to this a few times throughout the video. There are some specifics. It does also show you how to load the JavaScript API. The way we'll do it is very similar to this, pretty much the same. And yeah, just as a reference, this is basically what we'll use it for. Like the zoom levels, just to know what, like 10 is for a city, that's the one we'll most likely use. But if you want to zoom in more to streets or buildings, or we want to zoom out to the world view, then this will be a good reference for that. But yeah, this is just an overview. But yeah, let's move over to the Angular component. Again, this link is also in the video description. If you just scroll down, then here we go. So installation, first thing we have to do is we have to install this component. It just does not come with Angular. So let's just copy this command here, and then move over to VS Code. So all I've done so far is just create the basic Angular application. There's no extra components, it's just the defaults. All I've done is I've removed the default component elements that they give us here with the styles, cleared this out as well. But yeah, so it's pretty much a clean application. We're not going to work with components or anything like that, as this isn't really what the video is about. So we'll just be using this app component and adding Google Maps to this. But yeah, normally you will have a specific component for it, or maybe even multiple components. But yeah, that's beyond this video. So let's just get started. You can just open a terminal and then run the command that we just copied. Then while that installs, let's just go here. So there's a few ways to load the JavaScript API. We can load it inline, and we can do lazy loading. But we're not really going to work with different components and modules and stuff, so we'll just use the inline one. That's fine for us. So I'm going to copy that, but just to show you guys, if you go to the official documentation, there are explanations for inline loading and dynamic loading here as well, which is very similar to how we do it in Angular specifically. But yeah, let's move over to this. So in our index.html, we just want to paste that in. Then yeah, where it says your API key, that's where we will paste the API key that we got in the beginning. So copying this, just minimize that. then there we go. Again, you should use your own API key. If you want to copy mine, that's probably not going to work. So the map might not load, or it will give you some overlay with error messages on the map. So yeah, just go through the process, get your own key, and you shouldn't have any problems. Yeah, we can save that. And the package has been installed. Then, so we've added this part in. Then let's just add in a map. Let's just show you guys quickly. See, this should indicate if it works or not. Right, we have to skip the part there. We just have to import Google Maps module. So if we go to our app module, so if you do work with submodules, you'll just import it in the relevant one. And then, yeah, but once imported, the error goes away, and we should now see a map. As you can see, the map is a little bit outside the bounds of the view, but we'll specify that now. Let's see if we actually go down. So here we can see the different components for the Angular Google Maps component. So there's the Google Map, which is the one we just used. We're going to use map markers, and we're going to use map info window, and then there's a map cluster. I don't see it in the list, but it is up here. So if you just open that, so then Google Map, this is the one we just added. So if we check here, you can see we can specify a height and a width. So we just copy that, paste that in. Yeah, so let's paste that in. Should see the map load. So now you can see it is much wider because we just copied their values. But let's make the width just 100%. I just want to fill the width of the screen, and then the height for now, let's just go with something like 700 pixels. Yeah, that's a more sizable map, more appropriately sized at least. Then, yeah, we'll later on maybe add something at the top of the map. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, we've added that in. Then we can, so we check, yeah. If you don't specify coordinates, it just kind of centers here in San Francisco, between San Francisco and San Jose. But yeah, we'll get to that part now. If you check the documentation, yeah. Yeah, they specify a center and a zoom level. As I mentioned earlier, we can see the zoom levels here. Yeah, it's the map options. You can see how they're specified here. But zoom levels, world, continent, cities, streets, buildings. We'll use cities, so we'll want to specify the zoom level as 10, and then we'll specify a center. What we'll do is we'll use the user's location actually to center on. But I just want to show you here, you can use the map options, so you can specify center and zoom separately, or you can specify the options and then just pass that through in one go. So we'll be doing this. I'll just copy this, move this over. So if you see, list options, there we go. So now you see China just centers in the middle of the ocean. and then we just want to make the zoom 10, and now we really just see the ocean, but that's fine. Let's just not specify a center for now, and we still center here but on a more zoomed out level, which is fine. And then what we want to do is we want to, when this initializes, we want to ask the user for permission to use their location and just center around them, instead of just somewhere random. So how we're going to do that is we're going to say implements on a net, and then I'm going to say ng on a net. That's fine. Then we're going to create a function set let's say user location, and then we're going to go so call this set user location. It's fine. What we're going to use to get the user's location is the in Navigator. There's a geolocation library, and in that there's a get current position. So if you look at that, there's a successful callback and an error callback. So we'll be specifying both position. So this is the successful callback. So here we will set the position based off of what we get from the user, and then just to catch this error, we'll just console log it for now. But normally you do something here, like maybe set the center on something specific. But yeah, for now we'll just log it. But if they give us permission, then what we'll do is we'll say list of options, not center, and we'll specify that and longitude. So to do that, we'll say position dot coords dot latitude. And it's the same, yeah. Position dot coords dot longitude. So if we do this, then let's just do this for now. So if options dot center. So we'll only display the map once we have permission from the user to get their location. Let's see. Oh, I've already given location permissions, but normally it will pop up here and ask for permission. So yeah, you can see that it centers in Bloemfontein, Free State, in South Africa, which is more or less where I am. Because I'm using a desktop computer, it's not going to center on the exact location because the desktop doesn't have GPS. It's just kind of working off the IP address. But if you do use this on like a mobile device with GPS enabled, you should get a location accurate to about a couple of meters. But yeah, so we have the map now, it centers. So if we don't specify a location or block the app from getting the location, then it will still center. Well, right now it won't display because we specifically told it to only display if that happens. We'll change that out now. We'll change that to not happen, so we still have a fallback even if the user is waiting, if we're waiting on the user's location. But yeah, we'll get to that shortly. Yeah, then the next thing we want to do is we want to add custom markers. So if you zoom in on this map, you see these markers that Google has added. We basically want to add our own ones. Yeah, they have some information on them. This is an info window, so we'll be adding those as well. We'll add the markers, and then we'll add marker clustering, which is if there's a bunch of markers that are close to each other, then it will create a cluster for us, which you can click on and it will zoom in on that cluster and reveal the icons. But yeah, let's get started with the markers. So this is the Google map. If we go over to the map markers, here you can see basically we'll just use the map marker component. We'll loop over an array, which we'll construct here. And what we're going to do for now is we're just going to add markers every time we click on the map. So there where we click on the map, we'll just create a marker. But yeah, let's do that. So if we paste this in, we'll get to that now. Just move this up. So this is just because it could possibly be null, so let's just tell it it won't be null, and that's fine. And then we want to specify a map click event. So yeah, which will call that function that we just pasted in, which basically just takes the array here at the top and just adds a new like location to it, essentially, new position. But yeah, let's just do this. So that's going to add markers, but now we do still have to add the map marker component, and then we want to G4 let marker of let's just copy this marker positions. I believe that should be it for now. Let's just check position. That we need to specify the position, and options, which we'll get to now. Let's just minimize this. Position. So gonna rename this to marker. It's fine. And then we need to specify options. So I'm just going to name this marker options, and we'll specify that now. Let's see what they. So they specify draggable. Yeah, that's just so that you can't actually drag around the marker after you've added it. Usually the point of adding a marker is that you want to pinpoint a specific location, and we don't necessarily want the user to be able to drag those around. So now if they drag the map around. So you can just click around, you can see the markers being added. Just clicked on one of Google's markers, but yeah, currently if you click on one of our markers, nothing happens. So we still have to add in the info window as well. Let's just check we have that. But just to show you guys, there are more options that we can specify. So things like anchor points, you can if you have multiple maps on the same website, then you can specify which map it should be added to. Position it automatically gets from our array that we're creating based off our click events. You specify things like titles as well, labels, icons. But for now, we'll just go with the defaults. It's fine. Then the next thing we want to add is the actual info window. So when we click on a marker, we want to, like this, we want just a view to pop up like that, so some message or something. So let's have a look at how we can do that. So first thing we're going to do is we have to get a reference to that info window. So we'll use this view child. So we'll just do this here at the top. We just have to import view child angular/core and import map info window from Google Maps. Then we just have to specify this, that it can be undefined. Then that will be fine. And then we have to create a function, so it will be this, to actually open the info window for a specific marker. So we'll be passing through the marker when you're on the click for the marker, and we'll be calling that, we'll be passing through the specific marker, and so that we can open the info window for that marker. So if we just paste this in, just import everything again, the info window, we just need to info window, let's see. So yeah, just specify it won't be undefined. Yeah. So then you open it on that specific marker. Then we just have to add the click event for this, and add marker. Ooh, there we go. Oh, we just have to specify this. This marker position. Let's see. What are we doing along here? Specify marker, map marker. Have the map click. Info window. What's the filter? Assignable to parameter. Let's see here. Why argument? No, that's missing. Type map marker. If we produce this. Google Maps, yeah, that's fine. Why are we getting an error? Marker. Oh, I think I know. It's just marker position. Marker position. That's why we're getting the error. So that should not be the same. But yeah, there we go. So now we have the code to actually open the info window. And then all we have to do is add the info window component. If we go, yeah, add an info window component, let's just bring that up again. So now if we add a couple of markers, let's do that. So you see this where it's like overflowing with each other. That's what we'll be fixing next. But yeah, so we have this info window. we can just, and every time we click on a new one, it just opens that. So we're not going to go into too much detail for this, but you can modify the info window. So you only have one info window per map, but you can, in a way, modify it for each marker, where basically in this open info window, we can set like the content, some variable. We just set the content that we want to display there according to the marker. So we can have like an object that contains content for a marker alongside the positions. So we'll basically have an object that has alongside this array, yeah. But for now, let's show you guys that we can add a little bit more to it. We can add things like buttons. You can pretty much add anything. You can add images to this inside this as well, but this is where we'll put the actual info window content. So this here you can bind to a variable as well if you want. And then now if we open an info window, we have a little button there that does nothing, but we have a button there. And then obviously you can just style this, but again, we're just focusing on the Google Maps, not really the styling of anything. But yeah, so we have that. So next, what we want to do is when these get close to each other, we want to create a cluster icon that that basically just represents all of these, and when we click on it, it will zoom in for us so that we can see the actual icons. So let's go on to that. So if we go to the map cluster. So for this, we just have to load another library. It's again just copying this, pasting this in the index.html right below the other one. We don't need an API key or anything for this, so just paste it in. It also does have a package that you can install. It's just not listing it here, but on this documentation, so just to show you guys, here's the documentation if you want to add markers not using the Angular components. So just on the side, there are tutorials to add a marker. So you can just go through that if you're not using Angular or specifically don't want to use the Angular component. And then here's the cluster markers, which we'll show now. So this is what they're going to look like. So if you click on that, zoom in, there we go. And you can go down. So there's the same instructions, but yeah, there's the way we're doing it, and then you can just install a package as well. But yeah, let's go on. We did add that in, and let's see. One thing we have to specify, so you'll see we wrap the map marker component inside the cluster component, but we have to specify an image path. For this, I am going to just use the one that they use here as well. But if you have your own images that you want to specify, you'll just change this path here to your assets folder or wherever you store your images. So let's just add that into the component. Just here at the top. Yeah, that's fine. So we have the image path, and then we basically just want to wrap our map marker in the cluster. So let's just go to that, see that, smooth that up, and there we go. So let's see. So I don't have any markers, so let's just add some. Now if we zoom out, see if it's loading the images from a remote as a repository, so it's sometimes lagging when loading it. But yeah, just to show you guys, so if you specify, look at this image path here, it goes MarkerClusterer/m. So what this cluster package automatically does is it attaches a number and then .png to this. Now the number is dependent on how many markers there are in a cluster. So it will append one.png for these blue ones, less than 10. Then as you zoom out, let's just add some more markers. There's that. Zoom out. You see it loads a different marker to indicate there's more markers inside there. But yeah, then that's most of what we wanted to cover. What we can look into is how to center the map on a specific location after it has been initialized. So what I'm thinking, just for demonstration, we can just, as we create these markers on the map, we'll just create buttons for them here at the top, just so that if you click on the button, then it will center the map on the correct marker. So let's see how we can do that. So first thing we'll have to do, so like we have a reference to this, we will just say Google Map, let's change this to Google Map as well, and then we'll just use this map. So then what we want to do is, that way we'll also fix this issue where we are initializing only once the user is giving us a location. So we'll just create a function called setCenter. We'll pass in just coordinates. Let's pass in a position for now. Yeah, let's pass in a position. Then we want to say this .map.Google Map. We specifically want the map contains other properties as well. We specifically want to work with the Google Map. And then on that we want to say set center, and then we want to put the center based on the position that we provide. So for simplicity, let's just do this. Yeah, let's just use this type. There we go. There we go. So what we're going to do now, let's just get a new div. Let's create some buttons, and then we're gonna just loop over that. G4 let marker positions. So for each marker that we have, we will have a button. Then let's just specify a marker dot. Let's specify the latitude just to have some text that is unique for each one, and then for the click event, we just want to call that new set center, and then we want to pass through the marker. So that should, in theory, just be it. Check set center. Yeah. So just to demonstrate, so what we can do now, instead of specifying the center, we can just call this dot set center, where we specify the position. So we'll just have to create a new position long position dot coordinates dot longitude position dot coordinates dot latitude. So now it's not going to display, but I just need to text it like this out. So now it still centers, so the functionality should now be the same. But now if we go here, let's delete permissions for this, and then reload. So now it's centering on this, so we can interact while we're waiting for the user to give their permission. So they allow, then we go and we center on their location. And then just to show you guys, if we now create markers on the map, we are creating these buttons, not very stylish, but we're just looking at the functionality right now. If you move, just add a bunch, so then it will center on that one, we'll center, let's do that, click on that, zoom out a little bit. Now you can just use that function to just center so obviously you won't just have buttons with this, but you can maybe have like cards or a list on the side of the map or something, the venues that are available. Then say now a user knows the name of a place they're looking for, but not necessarily the location, then they can just click on this and you can just center for them. You can also on this map, so another thing you can do is you can set the zoom. So if you want to make sure that we zoom back to the city level, so we just do that, and then there we go. So then if you click in, it will zoom, just as that. There you go. So if you zoom out, you click on that, it will zoom in for you. But yeah, I think that's about it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any feedback, let us know in the comments, or if you have any ideas for what we should do next, yeah, let us know. Bye guys.